Hello everyone, and welcome back to John and Mandy Go RVing. Today we are on our way to Orlando to stay a few nights at Thousand Trails Orlando RV Resort in Clearmont, Florida. This campground is about a half-hour drive away from all the major theme park attractions in Orlando. This is a pretty large campground with 845 campsites that can accommodate all sizes of campers and RVs. New sections of campsites are being built and will likely be available soon as well. Even though that we were happy with the campsite we ended up with, we do see that most of the campsites could use repaving.
Most of the sites are out in the open with few trees or greenery, but Section D is a little more rustic. Let's go check that out. This section actually looks like a completely different campground. The sites in this section still have full hookups, but there is no Wi-Fi. Most of the cabins are found here, as well as the tent area and fishing pier. The cabin section feels like a little neighborhood, but watch out for turtles in your yard or crossing the street.
This is my new friend, the gopher tortoise. This species is native to the southeastern United States. The gopher tortoise possesses 4 feet well adapted for burrowing and are known as keystone species because it digs burrows that provide shelter for at least 360 other animal species. And here we have the Florida sandhill crane. These cranes frequently give a loud trumpeting call and can be heard from a long distance. Instead of a rooster, this is what we woke up to a couple of the mornings camping here.
Let's see what amenities the campground has. We'll start here at the Recreational Center, which has a store and a lounge. For such a large resort, we were really disappointed in the camp store. The pool, however, was impressive. It was just redone this summer, and the second pool was being worked on while we were staying here. The playground seemed a bit small, but it looked like maybe they were still working on it. There are plenty of shuffleboard courts here, if that's your game. Or maybe you prefer mini golf like John and I. This was a nice course and well maintained. Another sport you may want to try while you're here is pickleball. Pickleball is a sport that combines elements of badminton, table tennis, and tennis. Or you can get your family into a game of horseshoes. There's also a very small fitness room that you can use during your stay. There are several public restrooms and laundry facilities throughout the campground. The laundry room takes tokens, not quarters, which I found disappointing. The bathrooms were very clean and recently redone. This is the fishing pier. You can also launch a kayak or canoe from here. But be careful, there are signs warning of alligators. We did see one small one. He's hard to see, but there's the alligator we encountered. There's also a nice picnic area here, as well as a dog park.
Today we are at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
Got some miniature golf here, baby.
Yeah. Putt.
Invaders from Planet Putt, it's called. I think we'll be getting some miniature golfing on later.
Universal Studios was founded on June 7th, 1990, and is operated by Universal Parks and Resorts, which is a division of Comcast NBC Universal. Universal consists of two theme parks, Universal Studios Florida and Universal Islands of Adventure, as well as the water theme park, Volcano Bay.
This section is Universal Studios City Walk, which features restaurants, a movie theater, some shopping, and mini golf. You can experience City Walk without paying admission to the park, but if you come during the day, you will need to pay for parking. If you arrive after 6, take public transportation, or are a guest at an on-site Universal Orlando resort, you won't need to pay for parking either.
Ah, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem. This looks like a good one to start with. We enjoy watching the Despicable Me and Minions movies. Nice little starting area here before the ride. Look at Dr. Nefaru there with the serpent floaty.
My whole main crew, Master Villain, Scourge of Humanity. Ah, you want to be a me. Your training will begin soon, but be warned, danger lurks at every turn. Please. That is trying to be evil.
We definitely enjoyed the Minion Mayhem experience, and we highly recommend it. And don't forget to grab a souvenir.
Banana.
And look over there. It's the building that has the Transformers ride. Huh, they got a roller coaster here. Last time I was here, they didn't have any. But that was over 20 years ago, back in 97, 98. This is the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket.
Universal Studios is made up of 7 sections surrounding a lagoon. This road is known as the Plaza of the Stars and is the first section you'll walk into as you enter the park. The next section is the New York Backlot. One ride to experience here is the Race Through New York, featuring Jimmy Fallon. Be sure to ride the Revenge of the Mummy, a high-speed indoor roller coaster. This section of New York is where you'll find some performances, including the Blues Brothers and Sing It, an a cappella group. You'll see a bit of the Blues Brothers performance later in the video.
Excuse us, as it's time to be more than meets the eye. Autobots, transform and roll out.
that on this attraction, sanitized 3D glasses will be handed out individually to each guest prior to boarding. These glasses are sanitized prior to each use.
Well, that was fun. Sorry we didn't get any footage, as there is no filming allowed in any of these attractions. It is now time to enter the world of Harry Potter. Don't be a muggle and forget your wand. Through those corridors over there is another world. Move along. And just through this wall yet? Ah, yes, here we are. On the other side. Don't look in the dragon's eyes, or you will turn to stone. Run, while you still have the chance. Or will you use some of your magic against him?
This section is mostly shopping. There's one ride called Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, and there are a couple of live shows and a few places to eat. There is a Hogwarts train here that links Universal Studios to Islands of Adventure. And now we've obviously entered Springfield. This section is mostly carnival games, a few rides, and has a couple of bars.
Hey Homer, how about another beer?
Who doesn't want to have a beer at Moe's Tavern or visit Duff Brewery?
Hey Homer, where's Maggie at? I bet you she feels super delicious.
She just ate all the cookies. No.
Move along. There's nothing to see here. Welcome to Krusty.
Woody Woodpecker's Kids Zone is the most kid-friendly part of the park, with a playground and a few rides, including a small, kid-friendly roller coaster. It also features 2 live shows, one with animals, and a sing-along show featuring Barney. We decided to skip that one.
And let's not forget the ET ride. Overall, we had a good time, and I think we would visit again. That way next time we can do what we missed on this visit, and maybe we will do a second day so we can check out Universal Islands of Adventure too. Today we are in Florida's Ocala National Forest visiting Juniper Springs. Ocala National Forest is the oldest national forest east of the Mississippi River. It is located north of Orlando and is known for its large areas of sand pine scrub forest. Juniper Springs is one of several springs that has recreation and camping areas with natural pools and canoe runs. Juniper Springs is a natural spring that forms the headwaters of Juniper Creek, which flows into the St. Johns River where it eventually winds its way to Lake George. The Civilian Conservation Corps built an oval-shaped pool in the springs with limestone caves present on the bottom with areas of sand and aquatic grasses. Next to the pool is a mill house with a water wheel that used to generate electricity from the spring's flow for the campsite area.
The Ocala National Forest is a dream for those who love to be outdoors. There are several natural springs as well as 3 different runs to kayak or canoe. There are also 22 miles of biking trails as well as 9 hiking trails, including 66 miles of the Florida Scenic Trail.
Old stone bridge here. Want to see a large turtle? Look at that big guy.
today John and I decided to do a short hike, the Juniper Creek Nature Trail. This is an easy 0.8-mile round-trip walk, mostly on an elevated boardwalk that goes from the swimming area at Juniper Springs to the Fern Hammock Springs.
Where do you go where you have to watch out for alligators and black bears at the same time?
And venomous snakes.
Yeah, let's not forget the venomous snakes.
One of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Yeah, I will say that too. More turtles. Ooh, I thought I saw a gator for a second. It's like 84 degrees, 86 degrees right now, and underneath all this vegetation, you stay nice and cool. That palm tree's gonna take over the bridge eventually here. More than it already has. Good to keep your head on a swivel here. Keep your eyes looking around. You might miss something and regret it later. Pretty wild. Oh, yeah, that wasn't cool. One of the deck boards was loose there. I stepped over a few earlier that were kind of soft, like they were only going to be there for another few more steps. We might have already passed one and didn't see it.
Keep hearing noises.
Yeah, I do too.
Could be a bunny or could be an alligator.
I'm not so sure if there's bunnies out here. That's a beefed up grasshopper. The colors. Yeah, like in there they'll you can see how it's kind of pressed down, like something's been laying there before. You could see that along the water too, where it's kind of pressed down.
going into it, like something kind of slid into it.
Problem with alligators is they look like a log. It's easy to be honest.
Yeah, I've already seen a couple logs I mistaken for a gator.
We're getting ready to go in the springs. It's a little cold, but I'm starting to get used to it.
Yeah, my legs are starting to feel a little warmer now. We've been standing in about a minute so far.
Couldn't get here and not get in the water.
Yeah,
so
it just didn't feel
it
right.
looks gorgeous. So
Here we go.
here we go. Ooh, that's what I was afraid of.
It's not so bad.
Ooh, it's chilly. But how do you not swim in this?
I know.
You have to. There are a total of 14 campgrounds within Ocala National Forest. This is Juniper Springs Campground. Beware, this is a rustic campground with no electric, water, or sewer hookups. This campground has 79 sites and you are in walking distance to Juniper Springs. The campground offers tent sites and can accommodate RVs up to 35 feet in length. The cost is only $22 a day and you can stay up to 14 consecutive nights. If you are looking for full hookups, check out Salt Springs Campground. It is the only campground with full hookups in the Ocala National Forest.
These campsites are really nice.
There are comfort stations and a dump station available.
Big bathroom.
Today we are on the east coast of Florida visiting Cocoa Beach. Cocoa Beach was established on June 5th, 1925 and has a population of nearly 12,000 residents. In the 1950s, the town of Cocoa Beach started to grow as a result of the U.S. space program when NASA's John F. Kennedy Space Center was built 15 miles north of the area. The townspeople had a tradition of holding parades in honor of astronauts when returning from their missions in space. Have any of you heard of the 1960s sitcom I Dream of Jeannie? Cocoa Beach was the setting for where the show took place, although none of the episodes were ever filmed here. The show's star, Barbara Eden, only made 2 visits during the show's production, both in 1969 for publicity. Some notable people that have lived or grew up in Cocoa Beach include professional surfer Kelly Slater, professional wrestler George the Animal Steele, comedian and actor Carrot Top, and iconic surfing legend Dana Brown. When visiting Cocoa Beach, don't forget to drop by the Westgate Cocoa Beach Pier, which is a 60-plus-year-old landmark with restaurants, bars, shops, and live entertainment. Well, let's head over to Ron John's surf shop before we head to the beach. Then after that, we'll go play around on some jet skis for a while.
The Ron John Surf Shop was founded in 1959 in Ship Bottom, New Jersey by Ron DeMena. This store in Cocoa Beach opened 10 years later in 1969. The store is located just 2.5 miles from the statue of Kelly Slater that Cocoa Beach erected to honor the town's best-known athlete. McLarty Park is a small area between Ron John's surf shop and the rental store. There are 3 gazebos with benches and picnic tables, just in case you need a break. This is the largest surf store in the world with over 52,000 square feet of retail space.
Pretty big place, huh?
This store attracts 1.5 million visitors each year. Not only does it have surfing supplies, but also equipment for snowboarding, windsurfing, skateboarding, rollerblading, camping, and cycling. Lori Wilson Park is 32 acres and has direct beach access. The best part? Parking is free, which is hard to come by in Cocoa Beach. There are also public restrooms, a boardwalk, a playground, and pavilions.
I just turned it off. It's still recording the whole time.
Today we are on our way to Savannah South KOA Holiday in Richmond Hill, Georgia to stay for a couple nights.
This KOA is located about a half an hour from Savannah and an hour from Tybee Island and Hilton Head. If you don't want to drive into Savannah, this KOA offers a trolley ride into the city. You can pick up the trolley here at the store, and then they'll pick you up in the city around 5 p.m. This campground can accommodate rigs up to 70 feet in length.
This is more of the seasonal sites. So it looks like they got the seasonal sites mostly in the back and the weekly sites up front.
This is one of the campground's deluxe RV sites, sitting right along the 35-acre lake. Now that we're here, I wish we would have booked this site at least for a night or two. The deluxe tent camping sites come with a fire pit, picnic table, and tent pad. If you're more of a cabin camper, there are several different types from which to choose. Some are rustic with only a bedroom, while others have full baths, kitchen, and a gorgeous outdoor space. One unique feature of this KOA is that it has a bird sanctuary. Each night you can view ibis, blue herons, and egrets. There are also plenty of ducks, geese, and swans roaming the campground.
Here comes the squirrel. Like, what are these things?
The lake isn't just for bird watching. You can also fish with no license needed. This large, open, off-leash dog park is just perfect if you've brought your four-legged friends with you.
So we got a dump station and you got your propane filling station. Definitely you don't want to be smoking a cigarette while you're using either of these.
The pool is open from April until November. We didn't get to use it, but it looked clean and had plenty of patio space to just hang out. Next to the pool is the playground and a shuffleboard court. This is the recreation room, where the campground hosts activities such as crafts for the kids or potluck dinners. Although we didn't use them, the public restrooms seemed relatively clean and somewhat updated. There is a small on-site laundry room with basic washers and dryers. If you want to spend some time on the lake, ask about boat rentals at the camp store.
Savannah is Georgia's oldest city, which was established in 1733 on the Savannah River. Every year, Savannah attracts millions of visitors to its cobblestone streets, parks, and well-maintained historic buildings. Today's tour will start here at Forsyth Park, and then we will work our way towards the riverfront.
This statue at the south end of the park is officially named the Georgia Volunteer, but it is also known as the Hiker and the Spanish-American War Memorial. Savannah is known as the Forest City, mainly because the planters of the city purposely planted oak trees to provide shade for those hot Georgia days. The park began in the 1840s on 10 acres of land donated by William Hodgson. In 1851, the park was named for Georgia Governor John Forsyth. Through several expansion projects, the park now sits on 30 acres. This amphitheater is known as the Band Shell, and it plays host to concerts and festivals throughout the year. And on hot days, sometimes it even turns into a splash pad. There are 2 playgrounds in the park. This one has been recently redone, and it is an all-accessible playground, meaning children of all physical abilities are able to enjoy it. This is the Collins Quarter Cafe, which is located on the other side of the amphitheater. It opened in March of 2019. Forsyth Park has beautiful live oak trees. The Spanish moss, cascading from their branches, makes the park particularly beautiful and peaceful. The Forsyth Park Fountain is one of Savannah's most iconic landmarks. It's over 150 years old, being erected in 1858. Fun fact, the fountain was actually ordered from a catalog. There are several exact fountains all around the United States, including Madison, Indiana. The Marine Memorial was erected in 1947 to commemorate Chatham County Marines who were killed in the Second World War. Savannah has spent over 40 years restoring buildings with architectural or historical significance. Walking the city's streets, you find simple colonial-style homes and medieval cathedrals alongside large Victorian homes. This is the Casimir Polanski Monument and is located in Monterey Square. Its placement is not far from the battlefield where Polanski died during the siege of Savannah in the Revolutionary War. This is the Temple Mikveh Israel, the only Gothic Revival synagogue in the United States. It was erected in 1878 and is the third oldest Jewish congregation in the U.S. The mansion on Forsyth Park has had many roles. It once was a private residence, part of a junior college, and even a funeral home. Now it's a luxury hotel. An easy way to get around Savannah is to take a trolley tour. There are several companies who provide transportation around the city. This is the historic Landmark District. There are 22 park squares with museums, restored 18th century homes, and more than 100 restaurants. While here, you can join a ghost tour, buy tickets to the riverboat, or hop on a trolley. You can also visit the only museum dedicated to Prohibition in the United States. Go back in time to the early 1900s to understand how 13 years of Prohibition affected Americans.
Yes, they weren't kidding. They're definitely historic steps, so be careful when you're going up and down them, as they are short, shallow steps that can be very slippery when wet.
Throughout Savannah, you'll find several parks and small patches of greenery. This is Bay Street, directly across from River Street. It has a lot of eateries and boutiques. This is Savannah's City Hall. It was built in 1904 and is constructed of limestone and granite and was capped with a copper dome, which has since been covered in gold leaf. These bronze cannons were given to the city of Savannah by President Washington after he visited here in 1791. This building is now home of the Savannah Chamber of Commerce. It was constructed in 1887 as the Cotton Exchange. It helped to propel Savannah to the top spot amongst cotton-producing cities. Between Bay Street and River Street are these iron and concrete walkways known as Factor's Walk. They connect the buildings to the bluff.
This before you is the yachting cauldron from the 1996 Olympics. It was lit with the original Olympic flame from Olympia, Greece at the Savannah opening ceremony on July 20th, 1996, and it continued to burn throughout the Centennial Olympic Games.
This statue, known as the Waving Girl, has been the unofficial greeter of Savannah since 1887.
If you enjoy your seafood, Then stop on by Joe's Crab Shack and indulge in some of the locally fresh caught crabs, especially Wednesdays when they have their all-you-can-eat crab legs.
Don't miss out on River Street. It is a unique mix of old and new. There are unique shops, great eateries, and several breweries. The Savannah Riverboat Cruises offer you close-up views of historic River Street and tourist information. We're starting to get hungry. Guess it's time for some burgers and margaritas.
Doing great. Beautiful day so far.
Oh yeah. After
We were afraid of rain.
That was pretty good for a little while.
Yeah.
John and I aren't seafood people, so we were glad to find a place with a varied menu. These cobblestones came from all around the world. Originally, they were ballast materials from the many ships that sailed into the harbor. The town used them because they were cheap and easily accessible. Along this street, you'll find some famous shops, like Savannah's Candy Kitchen, Fanny's Your Aunt, and Cinnamon Bear Country Store. Tubby's Seafood has fresh local seafood with a great view of the Savannah River. The pedestrian walkway is almost 2 miles long and regularly hosts events and festivals. The Georgia Queen Riverboat is open daily for dining and water tours. This World War II memorial is known as the Cracked Earth. It represents the conflict of a world divided. Inside are the names of all who served in the war from Chatham County. And here's another seafood restaurant. Dockside Seafood boasts they have the best seafood in Savannah. Like I said, John and I aren't seafood people. You'll need to decide that for yourself. There are sections of the waterfront that are in a major revitalization phase. Old industrial buildings are being turned into modern, sleek restaurants and hotels. This power plant, originally built in 1921, has been restored and repurposed into a hotel. But Savannah is determined to keep some of that old southern charm. So what you get is a mix of old and new, reimagined with restored. This revitalization effort is bringing in a younger tourist demographic that is helping Savannah, one of the oldest cities in America, stay relevant.
Thanks everyone for joining us today, and if you found any of this information useful, please give us a like and feel free to subscribe. Take care everyone.